one of the longest standing records.
I can't swear to this, but I believe his teammate has probably got the highest clean and jerk in this field here tonight, and he'd be several kilos behind that. His 214 at the Olympics is probably the best lift in this field. So that's 214, and we've got a guy in the B session that's a hypothetical 214. I mean, he did it then. We don't know if he can reproduce it tonight. But a guy in the B session has already done 210 tonight. Very impressive lift from Hernandez.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, just to give you an idea of where we are in this competition, we've gone through the first half, just setting it up for you. Yildiz Hernandez of Cuba, 164 in the snatch, 210, 374. He's the leader in the clubhouse, but it's that 210 to keep in mind. The Frenchman Benjamin Hennequin with a total of 365 currently in overall silver, and Saeed Ragab Abdel El Hay from Egypt, 353. So those are the totals that these men have got to surpass. And this is Sinkrayan, Romania.
So clean and jerk, you don't get partial credit. First you've got to clean the bar, which means you get it from the platform to your shoulders. Then you jerk it, which means you get it from your shoulders to arm's length overhead. He cleans it successfully, but he's going to miss the jerk. He's going to dip, drive the bar up, and then drive his body underneath it. And
you know that
fails to lock it out.
In the opening lifts here, as posted, there's only 10 kilos between the whole field.
Once again, just showing how competitive it is. Just in other words, how close together these lifters are.
So you go 3 for 3 here, and you could well profit tonight.
Oh, in the clean and jerk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of lifters here are going to go 3 good lifts for the night.
No, I was thinking 3 for 3 in the clean and jerk.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, David. Couldn't agree with you more. This is the time to pull the lifts out of the hat. The big clean and jerkers here, which is going to mean the consistent clean and jerkers, are going to take home the bacon tonight.
So Sinkrayan of Romania, there were only 2 men who actually posted 195 as an opener. The other man was Kuznetsov. Now Kuznetsov, of course, bombed in the first half of the competition, and I'm not quite sure whether he's going to come out and start. We've had no news from the warm-up room as to whether he will come out, but sometimes you're just so mentally deflated that you just push it in. And remember, he was bronze medalist last year, so he's just about as low as you can get in his thinking, I would imagine. Sinkrayan on his own mission. Now that's a fair clean.
Yeah, good, solid.
And a much better chuck overhead this time.
Yeah. He wasn't in danger time-wise, but didn't have an excess when he came out for that.
No. But the good news for him is, because he's a young man making his way in this class, is that he has got a total 360. So Nicu Vlad, the president of the Romanian Weightlifting Federation, knows that he's going to get some Olympic qualifying points out of this lifter, and so he'll be pretty happy with that.
There's the jerk. You dip, you drive. Why do you split your feet 4.5? That's to lower your body so that the bar doesn't have to go as high before you can lock it out overhead.
Sort of weightlifting's equivalent of ski jumping's telemark position,
I guess.
Well, telemark and landing on ski jumping is where you get exactly the right balance. It's the safe way to actually land when you're coming in at 90 kilometers.
Right.
So you could look at this and say, well, that's the right basis to lift that sort of weight over your head.
Right. You want to be, you're doing it so that you can lower your body, because the bar is only being driven so high, and then what you're doing, and this is counterintuitive, people think you're just pushing the bar up, you're actually getting your body under the bar. Just it's really analogous to what we saw in the snatch.
This is Nuridinov of Uzbekistan, and he's modified. He's coming in at 197 as opposed to 200. That doesn't necessarily mean that the warm-up's gone wrong. It just means that, you know, he's reacting to what's happening around him.
Could be gamesmanship. He might be feinting that he's not as strong. He might actually be extra strong. Doesn't look like it, though.
No, it wasn't.
It was a solid clean, but he had to work to stand up.
Yeah, and the strength overhead wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah. He isn't moving at absolutely blazing speed here. Weightlifting generally, I mean, you have the quick and the dead. It's not always true, but this is an explosive sport. Had to work a little stand up, but he did. Let's see what goes wrong on this jerk. Yeah, he just never really fixed overhead. The bar's a little bit out front. The bar, the weight should be supported bone on bone. It's not really muscular strength once it's overhead, and things have to be lined up though for that formula to work. And here the bar is going to end up a little bit in front of where it should be when it's overhead, and that's why you can't fix it.
And this is the first one of the top 6 to crack, arguably, because he had 169 that he brought forward now. And of course, coming in at 197 when the big guns are going to start at 200, that failure sort of starts to mean maybe there's only 5 in the game.
Yeah.
It's a bit like knocking milk bottles off the wall.
Yeah, you know, and you look at the scoreboard for the snatches, there is so much red up there. There's so many missed lefts.
Yeah, not a high percentage of achievement in the first half.
Something in the air? What's going on?
Well, I think it's, you know, what happens on some nights. You know, coaches are making an assessment about where they want to start and what they want to go in. But the reality is, we have to say that it's a bit of a disappointment of the first half because they really came in at the announced weights. They didn't change. They didn't get, you know, they didn't exaggerate what they had originally planned to do.
And so Martirosyan has pulled out. I wonder if there was something physical or if it was just so discouraged.
Martirosyan,
yeah, he's pulled out.
And Kuznetsov at the moment has not. He's still around there with 200 as an opener, so he might be going for a clean and jerk compensation prize.
Yep, bad night for Martirosyan. Big, huge disappointment for the team as well then.
Well, on the evidence of what we saw, he wasn't going to go anywhere in the second half of the competition. Now, second attempt.
Really working to stand up with that weight in the clean. Yeah, I think we're going to see a wide split. This is a heavy weight for him, and boy, he's stuck with it on that.
But he is, you know, he is one of the new boys here, and remember, he's only 18. So they put him in here in a, you know, they put him in here amongst some big guns, and you know, I think that's pretty well done. You know, he's given himself a total here. He's moved up into the silver medal position, and he splits Hernandez and Enequin in the total race.
He had to really go to the well on that.
But reality, he's still 8 kilos behind Yilmaz Hernandez, and he's actually 13 kilos behind him in the clean and jerk.
Yeah, we'll catch him. I don't think we'll catch him tonight, but he really had to go pretty deep, I think, within himself to pull that lift out. He did, you know, to his credit. It's a heavy weight for him.
Now this should be very interesting because the bar going to 200 and Kim Kwang-hoon of Korea coming in. This is the man who has moved up. Well, he's one of several who've actually moved up in weight, but he didn't have a good first half. He had a 162, he had 157 and then 162. He made 2 out of 3, but clearly he's got a lot to do to adapt to this new weight class. Now it'll be very interesting to see how easily he manages this clean. How strong is he overhead? I'm really fascinated to see the jerk phase on this.
Solid clean.
Well, it would have been a press out anyway.
Yeah, the arms unlocked. I thought maybe he looked like he had the jerk under control. He didn't. The arms unlock and he loses it behind. Maybe we'll catch a technical error in slow motion. Looked pretty solid up to that point, I thought. There's the clean. The bar's very close to the body. Now he's going to dip and drive, split his feet. He's using some of that energy from bar. A little tight for us to see, but he's missing it behind. Okay,
yeah, he misses it behind, and then the momentum of the bar with that sort of weight just takes it behind, and there's no way back from that.
He's just getting rid of it so he's not getting clipped in the back of the head at that point. Yeah, I think his arms unlocked and they just dumped it behind.
So Shashamov of Uzbekistan, another 169er man. So this is the man who's in 5th place. So this is for 369.
So we got so caught up in, analyzing that lift. I mean, he's in this terrible position now. Missed his opener.
No, Shashimov.
No.
Not Shashimov.
No. I'm sorry, the Korean lifter, the lift that kept going over and over again.
Yeah.
No, Shashimov's he's up to bat now.
Yeah.
Here's his moment to shine.
Second place in the overall.
Yeah. The clean and jerk, to me, is really the toughest lift as far as just kind of having to be a little mean. You have to have some fire in your belly, and I think that's part of what that shout was right before he jerked. It was get a little bit of adrenaline going, a little meanness.
In the clean and jerk, of course, that puts him up into the bronze medal position behind Hernandez and behind the Frenchman, Enequin, who clean and jerk 202.
Very respectable clean and jerk, especially in B session.
As Kim comes on stage, one other factor that we haven't highlighted, which will also be important in the clean and jerk, Hernandez of Cuba weighed in at 83.05.
Oh, light.
So he's got body weight on his side. That's definitely worth another kilo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even look at his weight. That's very light for this class.
So that could be you could now say 211.
Are we accepting bets?
So Kim, second attempt. This, of course, to secure a total for him.
Missed the jerk on his opener. Oh, solid. Watch the bar, the ends of the bar flex a little bit as he dips and drives to the jerk. Lifters are going to use that mechanical energy to their advantage on the jerk. It's so effective. In fact, there's a rule in weightlifting. It's called oscillation. You cannot oscillate the bar. You cannot intentionally just bounce it up and down to get it going. You can see the bar flexing, though. Bars are designed to do that. That's not a flaw. Very high quality bars, and they're engineered to have a little bit of that whip.
So, Mr. Kashatrian for Armenia.
And we should hear some noise behind us, I think.
Yeah, so this is for 375. And to put that into context, 375 would take him into the overall lead. He'd be a kilo ahead of Hernandez of Cuba. But, of course, he'd still be, well, actually, 201 on the bar. He'd still be 9 kilos short of him in terms of the clean and jerk, but incidentally or coincidentally, they both weighed in at 83.05. But of course, who got to 210 first?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which counts in this sport. So technically, Hernandez has that edge.
His arm went. Doesn't happen very often in the jerk, but that's his arm. His arm popped out.
That's a dislocation of the elbow for people.
Yeah, or could break. Either one, dislocation. He's being blocked in the front by the loader so that the audience doesn't have to watch the agony of this. His arm's going to dislocate or break at the elbow on the jerk. I'll explain why more in a minute. It's going to be the right arm. There it goes. And then he almost gets hit with the bar. Okay, happens more often in the snatch. Watch the right arm. Yeah. Sometimes the lifter goes into shock, and it's not that agonizing. He's obviously in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's, another injury that's really painful, which, you often hear the screams about is something like a cruciate knee ligament, but this is really, really horrible. And, you've got to feel for a lifter like this, because this is an injury that not only is extremely painful, but it can actually put you out of the game for months. And you can see the shock actually on the faces of the Armenians.
Usually not permanent, fortunately. Happens more often in the snatch. It's because the hands are wider parts, putting more stress on the elbow. What happens is, if the weight starts to drift behind you, you can end up torquing your elbow. It's not unlike some of the physics in arm wrestling.
And he's been taken off the stage here. The medical attention is first class.
Absolutely.
We've got about at least 3 doctors here, and he will get the best of attention very speedily.
In fact, is Dr. Shahabi from Iran here tonight? Do you know, is Dr. Shahabi here? Because Dr. Shahabi has the record, as far as I know. He broadcasts at least as the world record for resetting arms, and he'll often do it backstage. That's if it's just a dislocation. It could also be a break.
Yeah, the doctor in attendance, the lead doctor Carmelo Ciotta of Italy, and you could see how quickly they were on the stage there to attend him. So that's really, really sad. That's we never want anybody to go out of the competition.
Because now Armenia had 2 lifters in this class. They lost the first basically due to bomb out and then withdrawal. Now this one injury, so they've lost a lot of points that I think they assume basically were in the bank for this class. Don't you think? I mean, they expected to walk away with substantial points from these 2 guys.
Marty Rossian's a completely different problem. That was in his head.
Right.
This man, sadly, we'll try and find out what.
But the net result is no points. Well, not no points, but fewer points.
Yeah. And a little exodus of Armenian supporters. But Sinkrayan now back on the stage now for Romania. The competition goes on, of course. That means that 2 of our 6 have now been knocked out and went down to 4, including Lu Yong. So the task has got significantly easier for the defending champion to make up that deficit.
Yeah, did you maybe even pointed this out? So Kuznetsov is also pulled out.
Has he? He hadn't a few moments ago, but
he has now too. Yeah. Pretty soon, if you just stay on your feet and get a lift, you could do well in this class. They're falling like flies. That was a good lift, though, seriously.
Yeah, Sinkrayan with 366, so he's making new marks every time here, and that's the end of his competition, but that is a good step forward. He's currently 4th overall, and in the clean and jerk ranking, he's up into the bronze medal position, but not likely to stay there for too much longer. But that was not what his evening was about. He had a personal set of targets, and just to put it into context, Sinkrayan had entered 375. He's made 366, so it hasn't all gone to plan, but nonetheless, I don't think that's too bad an evening for someone with relatively little experience at his level. Now, Nuridinov for Uzbekistan, who's sitting on also sitting on 366 at the moment, but has got 1 attempt to go further, and this is a 4 kilo increase to take him up to 370.
Well, he didn't quit. I mean, he let the bar just drive him back down to the platform. He knew he didn't have that locked out.
Well, you know, I was really impressed with the second attempt where he recovered after, you know, not looking very strong overhead. So, you know, gutsy effort again. This is, as we said right at the beginning of the evening, this was one of the outsiders in the final.
Yeah, well, we've lost 2 of what, you know, the group basically we put in the long ball hitters, and we lost the 2 Armenians who we would have expected to figure into this final outcome pretty prominently. So that means someone is going to move up here, someone who didn't really think he was going to end in as high a position as he's finally going to do.
Could be the next man on the stage here, Mr. Yufkin, and it's making the possibility of Yilmaz Hernandez getting a medal in the clean and jerk
that much easier.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, the door has been open, but just because the opportunity has been presented and someone's still got to capitalize on it, this guy's got to produce lifts. He's got an opening, but only he can produce the lifts at this point.
So this will be for a 374 total, which will put him up into 2nd place overall. And the reason for that is that he's actually heavier than Hernandez of Cuba. And he also put him into 3rd place in the clean and jerk because he's heavier than Hennequin, who's currently in 2nd place. Good clean.
Very quick under the bar. Oh, solid jerk, just punched it. That's just what you'd like to see.
Yeah.
He's quick under the bar in the clean, and then he just really punches that jerk overhead. No hesitation.
You know, Yufkin, and they've got a guy tomorrow, triple junior world champion in the 94, Alexander Ivanov, and they think that Ivanov could be the big star for them. Won the junior worlds for the last 3 seasons, Ivanov. Actually, it's going to be confusing tomorrow night. I tell you why, Randy, because we got 2 Ivanovs in the competition.
No.
Yeah, and their Christian names both begin with A. Artem and Alexander.
So this is worse than the Martirosians.
Oh yeah, it's going to
be. So this is interesting. China's being conservative here.
Well, I think this is probably quite a sensible move.
Yeah, he's come down. He was in 205. Wasn't he in his opening at 202?
This is where you react to what's happening around you. Let's get a total and then see what happens. So this is for 372.
Whoa, heavy for him. Heavy hand out of position. Jerk was a lot better than the clean, but
tell you what, maybe it wasn't a question of choosing to adjust. Maybe it was a question of having to adjust.
Yeah, and being smart enough to recognize the reality, what was going on in that warm-up room.
Yeah, it questions. It's also often a question of who tempers whose ambition. Sometimes the lifter has to be cooled by the coach. Other times it's the coach who has to be cooled by the lifter.
Yeah, the coach is really supposed to be the conservative force. The lifter should be the horse that's just pulling. But the coach has got to know when to restrain a little bit.
Now, Mr. Zielinski coming out for his first attempt at 202. Now, this is going to take him up to 375 and the lead in the total. So this would take him past Hernandez in the overall. But they're still way short of Hernandez in the clean and jerk. And it could be a gold medal that's coming Hernandez's way.
Came pretty close to that, touching that right elbow to the right knee, I thought. Maybe not. Solid jerk, though. That's good. Well, we've seen that. We've seen gold medals come out of the B session.
Schwarzkopf. That's what we call it, isn't it?
Right.
Doing a Schwarzkopf.
Yeah, and you were instrumental in trying to reduce the chances of that happening, right? By making these totals that people put in have some teeth to them, right?
Yeah, with the 20 kilo and the 15 kilo rule. Although we've still seen at this championship coaches who clearly manipulated and played that rule. But the basic rule, if you're not familiar with it, is you enter a total, and in the men's division you have to finish within 20 kilos of that entered total. If you do not, if you drop short of that by 21 kilos, then whatever you've done is just cancelled out.
Yeah.
And it's 15 kilos for the women. Now, Lahun, last year's silver medalist with 166. Is this an opportunity for him to move up?
Right.
Lifted 209 in Goyang.
Strong clean. Stood up with that very easily. Oh, very routine left.
Yeah. Well, that was very strong overhead, very well put together, and 3 white lights, and takes Lahun with 369 only up into 5th place, Randy, but he's within 6 kilos of the lead. So it's Zielinski who leads at the moment overall, from Hernandez, who's in overall silver by lighter body weight than Yufkin of Russia. Liu Yong, the defending champion, 3 kilos off the lead. So now Shashimov, Mamsurak Shashimov of Uzbekistan, currently on a total of 369. Now this is a 6 kilo increase, 200 to 206. So this would take him to 375. He weighed in at 83.99. Zielinski at 84.55. So that's why he would go into the overall lead and into 2nd place in the clean and jerk. Hernandez leading the clean and jerk from Lahun, 210 to 204. Enekin of France currently in the bronze medal in the clean and jerk on 202, but this 206 would take this man into silver clean and jerk and push Lahun down to bronze. Fifteen seconds. No, never caught it. And the elbows caught the knees there. And as Randy was saying a couple of minutes ago, the rules say if your elbows touch your knees, that's a no lift. And you could see he sort of got settled, but then lost it and then tried to regain that certainty in his mind. So that's a pretty important opportunity lost there. That was his second attempt. Now Zielinski on the stage already. Also going for 206. This would be a 4 kilo increase for him. He's on 375 at the moment. The current overall leader trying to enhance that advantage. And again, second place in the clean and jerk. Well, a judge I've got the 3 white lights, no press outs, and 202 to 206 and 379. He now leads by 5 kilos overall, but is still 4 kilos and body weight short of Yilmaz Hernandez of Cuba. So Shashimov out in double quick time. Well, a few moments ago he was vying for the lead. Now he's vying for 375 to go into the silver medal position, both in the clean and jerk and in the total. Last attempt, down in 6th place at the moment in the overall rankings, down in 9th in the clean and jerk. So this would be a big move up the table in both of the ranking lists here for Mamsubek Shashimov. Already much better than last year when he failed to total, but might this earn him a medal at the end of the evening? Really heavy on the clean and too heavy. Ran out of gas, or strength evaporated, whichever way you like to say it, and he's left down there on 369. So no medals in the clean and jerk, and as far as his total ambitions are concerned, in 6th place at the moment. 10 kilos separating Zielinski in the lead from Shashimov in 6th place, and it'll be Alexei Yufkin to come in next now. Yufkin, who opened up on 202 in the clean and jerk, going for a 6 kilo increase. This would take him to 380. Weighed in heavier than Zielinski, and that's why, as you can see there, 379 to Alexei Yufkin's 374, but the 6 kilos would lift him up to 380, and that extra kilo would put him into the lead. This competition won last year with 394. Well, we're not going to get there, but this is all about winning the competition, not winning records or bettering what happened last year. It's just focusing on what you can control this time around. So Yufkin, 24 years of age, representing Russia, looking good for world honors, but this would be really good if he can pick this up now. Good clean, predictably a little bit heavier, And a little more difficult, but strong overhead, and that's a really good finish. Russia. Well, Alexei Yufkin having a great series at the moment. That's 5 out of 5. And Zielinski, the Pole, demoted into silver medal position. And the bar going up now. Sergei Lahun at 209 kilos. Now this is what he achieved last year, but it is still 1 kilo short of the man who leads the clean and jerk rankings, our Cuban Yilmis Hernandez, who went 200, 206, 210. And he's got a bodyweight edge on all of his rivals. And in fact, the bar going to 210 now for Lu Yong. This is an 8 kilo increase, but even if he achieves this, he will not go into the lead in the clean and jerk, but 8 kilos would take him to 380. So challenging Yufkin. Yufkin lighter than Lu Yong, but doing this in steps. This is the man who clean and jerk 214 on his way to the title in the Olympic Games, but 208 last year. And sorry, it's Kim, I should say, on the stage. Sorry, the bar changing and the tactics changing. Kim, I do beg your pardon, Kim Kwang-hoon of Korea. So this is to 372 to move him on the edge of the medals and into the lead in the clean and jerk. Very light body weight here, 82 kilos. No. And that was his third attempt, and it was his one attempt to go into the gold medal in the clean and jerk. A relatively new bodyweight class for him, and unfortunately for him, he stays down in 8th place overall, and in the clean and jerk, 8th in the clean and jerk overall, down in 10th place. So now it is Zielinski coming in at 210. So this is a 4 kilo increase to take him to 383. So into the lead overall, but still behind the Cuban in terms of the clean and jerk. Needs to hold this still, and that looks pretty good. Bozo says put the bar down, and that is 3 white lights, and he's had a very good evening, Zielinski, or Zielinski I should say. That's 3 out of 3 in the clean and jerk. To go with 2 out of 3, that's 5 out of 6. Those are good percentages, and that's why he is where he is. And in the lead, Poland, from Russia, from Cuba, still Yilmis Hernandez in the lead, 374. He's still 2 kilos ahead of Lu Yong, the Olympic and world champion, the defending champion. As you see, Zielinski, 383. He's 3 clear of Yufkin, but Yufkin's still got an attempt left. And now Sergei Lahun, who's got 2 attempts left. So has Lu Yong. Yufkin's got 1. So it's down to this now. Now, Lahun on 369. This is an 8 kilo increase to take him to 377. And Bogdan Mokranowski stopping Sergei Lahun. Now this is pretty annoying to break the concentration like this. Now clearly there's something amiss on the secretariat desk, so he's going off. He had actually had 45 seconds or 44 seconds left, so Lahun on 2:11. Liu Yong 2:02. Now this is where the chess game comes in, and that's very disconcerting for a lifter, and he's going to go, I think, back and just try and take himself out of the main arena. He's just pacing around with his Belarus coaches now, and they're just trying to work this out about who should be coming in. Liu Yong also posted 2:11, and it's Liu Yong who's going to come in, I think, at the second attempt. And Sam Coffer, the head of the technical committee, the president of the jury on this evening as well, actually has left the jury table and is now marching backstage to try and sort out with the technical controller what is actually happening here. Now this is where the disruption of the rhythm of the competition can play. There's David Rigger there of Russia. You just saw him standing next to the Belarus. There's Sam Coffer coming out now, very animated. Well, there's Lahun. And it's going to be Lahun to come out for his second attempt. So here we go, 211 kilos, an 8 kilo increase. He's got 369. He's currently in the overall rankings, down in 5th place. And this is going to take him to 377, 3rd in the overall, but the lead in the clean and jerk. So this is for the gold medal position in the clean and jerk, ahead of the Cuban. Very good clean. Settles for the second phase. No. As he jerked the bar, it went slightly in front of him there. He couldn't get under, and Yilmaz Hernandez of Cuba clings onto the lead in the clean and jerk. Now, Liu Yong, this is fascinating. Liu Yong's 2:02, his first clean and jerk effort, was not all that convincing. So at this stage, Liu Yong on 372. He's ahead of Lahun. You perhaps would have expected him to come in here and take this weight. And in fact, I think Liu Yong has called it a day. Just looking at the statistics there's 2 blanks out there, and I don't think Liu Yong is going to come in and take this lift at all. Just to confirm, Liu Yong is out. The confusion was caused by his retirement. Everybody thought he was still in, and in fact he was out. And so the champion of 2009 is no longer the champion. This is the situation. Hernandez in the clean and jerk still leads with 210. Zielinski on 210, but by virtue of body weight. But remember, Zielinski has actually finished his lifting. And there you can see Yufkin in third place on 208. He's still lurking with a chance, but this is now Lahun coming out for his third and final attempt. And this is for bronze medal position in the total and the lead in the clean and jerk. But it's the last throw of the dice for him. And Yufkin still with one attempt to come. Has to stand still. Are they happy with that? Lahun is happy with that. 3 white lights. And Hernandez, who was just standing off to our left, thinking that the clean and jerk gold was going to be his, now realizes that the big prize in the clean and jerk has been clean and jerked away from him. 2:11 takes Lahun up into the overall, or I should say, into the clean and jerk gold medal position, but only into the bronze in the overall. And Hernandez has also been knocked out of the medals in the overall. He's down to 4th place, but a very decent 374. It's Zielinski who leads by 3 kilos from Yufkin. Lahun in the bronze medal position, last year's silver medal, and now it's all down to this man, Yufkin. 4 kilos, the increase to take him to 384 to give himself and Russia the 85 kilo championship. So this for the world championship for Alexei Yufkin, who was European champion 2 seasons ago, but this would be a big step forward. This for the overall gold medal and the title. No, not to be. He'd made 5 out of 5, but not 6 out of 6. And so the title goes to Adrian Zielinski, but joy from Hernandez of Cuba, because he's got the clean and jerk silver medal with 210, ahead of Zielinski, behind Lahun. But the man from the B group has got a decent consolation prize for his afternoon's work. Here you can see Yufkin. The clean was good, but this is the one where he goes into no man's land in terms of the competition and just buckles under that weight. And it's Zielinski of Poland who takes the overall championship. Randy, right back with me. Randy, you were alongside in the stage there. At the end of the day, it could have gone every which way.
Absolutely.
The confusion with Liu Yong, is he in, is he out?
I know.
And then he's out, and suddenly that messed up the timing and the rhythm of the competition.
Yeah.
And Lahun, all credit to him after that, to come out and get the 2:11. But you have to feel for Hernandez, denied by a kilo from getting the gold medal in the clean and jerk.
But we said what we thought, highly probable he'd be on the podium. We didn't think it would be likely that he'd get the gold, although what we didn't guess was that it'd be so close to getting the gold. The wheels sort of came off the car here in a big way, and big opening, big opportunity for Yufkin. Couldn't quite realize it. Had a chance to.
He did a pretty good job. He got 5 out of 5. He was 5 out of 6 at the end of the day, and just the weight, just that little bit too heavy at this moment. He just buckled under that, but That's going to come. That's going to come.
You could see he was nervous standing over the bar. Was really trying to dig deep enough to believe he could lift that weight mentally and then physically go do the job. A little bit too much for him
maybe
today,
he hadn't, maybe that moment hadn't gone into his head where he would find himself with that opportunity to close out the championship, and that's where the nerves come in. Maybe he thought he was going to be there for bronze or silver or whatever. But there is confirmation. Serhii Lahon of Belarus, who took the silver medal overall last year and takes the clean and jerk. Good recovery effort after all the messing around, the time disruption there, and denying Yilmaz Hernandez, who was standing off in the wings there by just a kilo. And Zielinski, consistency at the end of the day, winning the bronze medal, but ultimately the big prize, the gold for Poland. And that's a